Hi everybody, how are we doing? It's Amanda. It is the, excuse me, it's the 23rd of October 2018. I've got some incense going, which is why I was spluttering. Yeah, so we're a day off the full moon in Taurus. I have been so busy recently, including just being away for a couple of days up to Yorkshire to see my family, that I haven't got a clue what this Taurus full moon is about. I haven't had a chance to watch my my favourite astrologers yet. So in a way, that's good. That's good. So all I know is it's a Taurus full moon, and I know what I can feel with regard to the energy. So I'm just going to shuffle some cards here and talk to you a little bit about what I feel the energy is doing at the moment, what it's bringing up in the collective, and we'll go from there, shall we? Firstly, a big thank you. I want to say a big thank you to all of the people that are supporting me at the moment. It's greatly appreciated, and I don't always say it. So thank you for all your likes, thank you for all your comments, and thank you for all your support. It's really, really great. So I'm just going to shuffle a deck here, and I'd like to start with a crystal. That feels very appropriate, actually. It's a Taurian full moon, so Taurus is of the earth, so that's probably why I've been asked to select a crystal for us. I've got a beautiful selection of crystals actually on my desk, but we'll see whether it's the same as what we get here. Okay, Archangel Metatron, please let's just have a good crystal energy to help balance us, heal us, and bring in what we need during this last part of October, going into November. I'm going to stop there. We've got Halite. This is actually a pink Halite. I've actually got a piece of blue Halite, which I'll go and get in a moment. In fact, I'm going to go and get that now, and we'll talk about why Halite is coming up. It's called the Master Cleanser. I'm just going to get my blue piece of it. So this is my piece of Halite. Isn't that stunning? Can you see how it's almost like iridescent, isn't it? So it's a beautiful piece of blue Halite. And it says Halite is a master cleanser. It helps draw out impurities from your physical, energetic and soul bodies, dissolves old patterns, negative thoughts and toxic emotions, promoting emotional well-being. It stimulates the meridians and grounds the healing properties of other crystals. And it's great for detoxification, purification on all levels, ensuring well-being, and it's a great anchor to the earth. It's great when you're wanting to have a clear out of your life, to declutter your space, including your car, your mind, your body. So yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? We are in this process of clearing out and detoxifying. So I'm going to keep I think I'll hold the Halite actually as I talk to you. I don't know how you're all doing, but it feels as though things are really ramping up in terms of the energy recently. And it's as though there's quite a serious energy coming in at the moment with Archangel Metatron. So I feel probably in the build up to November, the 11th month in this numerological 11 year. So it's as though it's time to start really getting real, and time to start really walking our path, and time to realize that we can't separate our spiritual life and our spiritual path from the everyday. The everyday is the spiritual. So frustrating sometimes for me when I put up videos or posts, particularly on Facebook, and you'll always get the comments about why are you commenting on something maybe political or something that's going on in society at the moment. Why can't you just stick to the angel stuff? And the truth is, of course, the angel stuff, God, the divine, is in all of it and needs to be in all of it right now, because boy, aren't we all being triggered by so much at the moment. I just wrote something on Facebook saying I was about to do this video, and somebody just, it was Susie, thank you Susie, you put the reminder up about how the veil between the realms is very thin right now. And of course we're about, how many days? We're not that very far away, are we, from Halloween? And the veils being very thin, and they start to get thinner and thinner as we creep towards the 31st of October. But I heard Metatron say something else. It was quite interesting. He said that the veil between the two sides of ourself is very thin right now. And what he means by that is our shadow side and our light. We could also say maybe our higher self and how we wish to be, how we wish to act, how we wish to speak, and the shadow side of ourself that is just very present as well. And people are getting really easily triggered by all sorts of things. And of course, if there is a, if it's right that you need to be triggered by something that is wrong, that's different to just being triggered by something that is unhealed within yourself. And there's a lot of things at the moment that are triggering people, and it's a reflection actually of issues that they haven't looked at within themselves. And I think we're all guilty of that, including myself. I always put myself in there as well, because I never want to come across as somebody who's sitting here feeling as though they've got it all sorted out. I haven't. But it is true that in every moment we have a choice whether to link into our higher self and our light, or whether to respond through fear and concern, stress, tension, whatever triggers it, to our shadow. And I just feel we're seeing more and more of it at the moment. And I actually this morning woke up and Marina, one of my team, many of you know Marina, she answers a lot of my Facebook messages for me, and she manages the Facebook groups that we do linked into distance work. And she just put up something linking into the fact that, well, actually, this is going to trigger people, you see, even bringing this up. It was something on, let me bring it up, because it was very, very perfect. It was just a post. It was a post on Facebook. And this is what it says. Okay, let's just bring it up so we get the right words. Here we go. Okay, so it says, this was the post. Something seems wrong when streams of Hondurans fleeing violence spark questions like, how do we prevent them from entering our country, instead of how can we help these people heal and find food and shelter? Our brains are wired for kindness. Politicians make us fear. And I actually responded to that, and I said, I agreed with it, and then I said, and when it comes to not being able to talk about it on spiritual pages without getting attacked, you know that we are all really in trouble, feeling despondent, to be honest. And I was being honest there. And Marina came back to me and she said, yeah, come on, it's just time to get a bit feisty. You need to stand up for what you believe in. And I completely get that. And even within myself, there is this awareness of carrying on, with the torch and the light, which of course is what I will do. But equally, the collective anxiety, fear and darkness and the shadow that is out in the open for everybody to see at the moment is making a lot of us light workers, I nearly said night workers, a lot of us light workers not question even, just... I'm being reminded of the passage from the New Testament, actually, with Christ, just before crucifixion, when he basically said to the Father, please take this cup away from me. It's almost as though it's too much. Please take this cup away from me. And of course, when Christ did that, there was never any intention that really that was ever going to happen, and that he was going to bail out of his responsibility and the path that he had chosen. But yet those words were said. And I feel as though many of us are feeling that at the moment, particularly those of us who are on a spiritual path, who by nature are sensitive. It's almost as though, please take this cup away from me. The level of shadow that is out there, the level of attack that is out there is depressing, to be perfectly honest. So you know me, I never cover it up. I never come on here and try and be happy if that's not exactly how I'm feeling. So this is a bit like a rallying call, I think, to all of us to stand strong together, really, and to realise that as we go into the 11th month of an 11 numerological year, which is all about the light and the shadow, it was always going to get a little bit tricky. And we just have to link with people of like minds and very much let go of people who are not. And by that, I mean the people that are trying to maybe pull you down. And that isn't anything linked to being onto YouTube, it's linked into everyday life. Had a situation myself over the last couple of days where I was talking about something that's just going on in my personal life to somebody, and they just really didn't get it at all. And you know, the comments that came back were really, they just lowered my energy. It was like, oh, you know, you're really not getting where I'm coming from. So you have a choice. Do you respond to that? Do you try and argue a point? Or do you just sort of settle into what you know is right for you and your path? And I think that's where we're all at. Metatron also said to me today, and I think this is going to resonate with quite a lot of you, that I think those that are on the spiritual path, which you like to think is people that maybe are watching videos like this and in communities like this, but I'm being told there are wolves in sheep's clothing. And it's as though we're really starting to see those that are prepared to do the work. And by that, it's about trying to hold the high ideals of compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, understanding, love. You know, we could go on and on and on in the everyday. And those that just can't. And it's not just that you make a mistake. We all make a mistake, and we maybe say things that we don't wish to, or we behave in ways that we know isn't our highest truth. But it's when people do it over and over and over again and just try and pull down the energy of it. So I feel as though this is almost a time, if we're in a battle, spiritual battle, we call ourselves spiritual warriors of light, don't we? It's time to almost look around the battlefield and see the people who are shining the most brightly. And that isn't the people who are the most successful, okay? It's not the people who have got the highest standing. It's the people who are still there, who are still hanging on, even if it's by a thread, and who are still trying to embody these qualities of fifth dimensional energy, grace, compassion, etc. Okay? And two cards that I pulled out right at the start, I've just made a little altar for myself today, just welcoming in this Taurian full moon. I've got these two from the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck. Number one is Diving for the Light, card number 11, no surprise. And then we've got the card of Inner Trust. Okay, so we've got Diving for Light and we've got the card of Inner Trust. And it's as though what we can see around us in the collective in particular, and maybe also in your personal life, but particularly in the collective, this chaos, this confusion, this increased aggression that is out there, whether we like it or not, we have to dive even deeper, basically, to find the light around these times that we're in. And we have to have trust in the process, trust in ourselves that has got us to this point in time, trust in spirit, trust in the angels that they've got this, that they're there amidst the chaos, and that we can do this. So that being said, let's do some cards. Let's see what on earth is going on at the moment. And I'm going to just bring some sprays in at this point. I'm going to bring in the white light. I'm just going to put that around me just to help clear anything that needs to be cleared. Remember, we've got the halite as well that came through in terms of the need just to keep clearing ourselves as much as possible. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that I've got on my altar, actually. I've got a couple of colour mirrors bottles, and the two that were really obvious to bring out was this one, which is G8. Okay, you might have seen me show you this before in previous videos. This is one which is linked into karma, sins of the father, the need to look into our shadow, basically. It's the shadow bottle. And I've also got the bottle of forgiveness, okay? Another quite dark colour. We've got the energy of forgiveness. I've also got some runes. And I'm going to actually, I don't know anything about runes, so I've got some runes here. I've got given them this month. And I'm just going to pull one and I'm going to see what rune we get. And it literally will be, I've got the meaning of the runes here. So let's just have a little rummage, shall we? Let's see what comes out. I'll just show you before I pick them. They're black, okay? So they feel really linked into this period of shadow that we're in. So Archangel Metatron, let's just ask you to come in via the runes here. Let's see which one we get. He's saying, which one is he saying? He's saying that one, okay. Oh good, I'm glad it's one that's easy to read because some of them have got really convoluted symbols. I think this is, let me just check, is it Cano? Looks like it might be Cano. Just see if there's another one that is a V. No. Okay. Excuse me. So it's Cano. And this is the meaning of Cano. I guess some of you that watch me, you may well be rune readers, so you can probably elaborate on what I'm saying here. But this is what I'm being told the meaning of this one is, Cano, V. It says, if things are looking very dark and gloomy, this symbol tells you that a way out into the light is about to present itself. Use all of your energies to watch out for and utilize this opportunity. Be aware that if all doors are closed, there may be an open window. Oh, wow. Well, that's really appropriate, isn't it, to what I was just talking about. I'm going to just read that last bit. Use all your energies to watch out for and utilize the opportunity. Be aware that if all the doors are closed, there may be an open window. So that's really like it's time to think outside the box, isn't it? Okay? The old rules really are not applying at the moment. But it is also acknowledging, and Metatron is also acknowledging, that this is a time that is quite difficult. And we have to, it's backing up what this card says, to be honest. We have to dive for the light. The light never disappears. Light can't be fully extinguished. Not spiritual light anyway. You can turn off a light switch, but you can't turn off holy light. It's always there. So let's have pull some cards now. Let's just see what we're going to get. Just wondering which cards to use. I've got the Sacred Rebels deck here. So I haven't used them for a while, but they did call to me today to be used. So let's just have a go and let's just see what comes through. Just going to shuffle them 3 times. And we'll take 3 cards to start with. Might back it up with some other cards. Let's just see. Okay. Right, Metatron. October the 24th, full moon in Taurus. End of October, going into November. This isn't the read for November per se. I'll do a separate one for that. Let's just see, where are we at now? Sacred Fool. We've got the card of the Sacred Fool. Okay. And on the bottom of the pack, we have got the card of Free from Judgment, Free to Love. Judgment is a huge part of all this, you know. It's a huge part of all this. So much judgment around. Where that is coming up big time to be healed. Who are you judging? Why are you judging? What are you judging? Are you in a position to judge? None of us are. None of us are without sin. None of us are without shadow. None of us are without our faults. None of us are without mistakes. And yet we are really trigger happy, Metatron is saying, to point the finger of blame at the moment at other people. And it's so detrimental. And it's not just detrimental because it might affect the other person. It also affects you. Because what you give out, you give back. And I know we know this, but I just think, going back to what came through right at the start, that the veils are very thin right now between our own shadow side and our light. We need to be really careful, because when we're in our light and linked to our higher self, we are able to manifest very beautiful things in our life. We're able to bring in flow, we're able to bring in magic, we're able to bring in miracles. When we sink into shadow, the same rule applies, which is that energy is becoming magnified and increasing. Time is speeding up. I mean, can you believe that we're nearly into November of this year? And so what we project and what we link into, we are going to attract back much quicker than we did before. And the truth is that every time that we do something loving to somebody else, we send love, whether it's remotely, whether it's actually physical in terms of giving somebody a hug, just being nice to somebody or saying something nice, we get that back tenfold. But when we do the opposite, and when we go into judgment, and when we go into blame, and when we go into you're wrong, I'm right, you're bringing a whole heap load of that back to yourself. And really the person that you're hurting the most is yourself. And it's so important to hear that message right now because how thin the veil is between these two parts of you. I wonder, to be honest, whether this is just part of the ascension path. I guess it is. Because I think probably 10 years ago, if you'd been talking about light and shadow, people, although it was always about needing to integrate the two to become a whole actualized human being, I think still there was the separation between the two felt very pronounced. But I think, and it would make sense to me, that those of us that are doing the work, that are on the spiritual path, we have been healing many parts of ourselves. And so what we're left with now is what was very far removed and apart from each other and very pronounced. This is my light, this is my dark. Somehow I've got to get them, integrated. What's happened is they've come closer to each other because you're integrating them into yourself. And so therefore now it really is a very, very crystal clear choice about, do I listen to this voice or do I listen to that? And of course what we need to do is basically listen into the light. Now this card of the Sacred Fool, let's just see what comes through from Metatron here before I actually link into the card's message itself. And I feel like I need a spray to help me here. I'm going to go to the Flame Attunement spray. Okay, got it to hand, so might as well use it. So let's just put that around me. 40, the Sacred Fool. What is there to say about this energy, Metatron? I'm feeling as though there's a message coming through here. The truth is, of course, we can all be the fool. We can all be the fool. But what I'm interested by is on this card, she's holding, can you see she's holding a puppet on a string? And I feel as though sometimes the way that we react when we're triggered or when we're going into shadow, we're actually following what we believe we should be doing in terms of society's eyes. Because if the path that we're on is to become more and more authentic and to step more and more into our individuality and to express that and to break out of the box, as we've talked about in a few previous videos, what you're doing is you're setting yourself apart from the crowd. You are deliberately setting yourself apart from the crowd by becoming different, by becoming individual, by seeking different paths to the norm. And so therefore, what history has always shown is that if you do that, the crowd tend to want to attack the new. People like to stay in comfort zone, whether that is society or whether it's the individual. And if society basically wants to stay in its comfort zone, which is what really it wants to do a lot of the time, Metatron is saying, those who are wanting to go off in a different path and explore different things, different ways of behaving, different ways of responding, are going to face ridicule, attack, and lower energies. And it's a reflection, those that are doing it, of wanting to stay in almost like pack mentality. It is like a pack mentality. Interesting as well that this moon is called the Hunter's Moon. It does remind me of, I don't know the symbolism of the Hunter's Moon. Maybe I should look that up for a moment. But certainly, in the UK, we've got hunting. It's now banned, basically, I think. Certainly with live deer or whatever it is that they used to hunt for, not I'm glad to say I'm not an expert on it. But the whole point is it's about the pack. It's about the pack going after the one that breaks away. So let's look at the official meaning for Sacred Fool now. Let's have a look at who wrote this. Alana Fairchild. Okay, Alana Fairchild did. She's good, isn't she? Yeah. 40. I'm not going to read all of it because it's like pages and pages. Let's just see what the relevant point. The fool is a giant rebel, it says here, able to thwart convention and tell the truth without restraint. It cares not for the right way to do things. It cares not for what the mind says is real and not real. It lives according to an inner wisdom that cannot be dictated to or controlled by anything. It loves, it lives, and it is what it is. This oracle heralds a time, now or imminent, when you will feel inspired, alive, and passionate for what you can offer to the world. It says to you, don't try to be appropriate, don't try to be socially acceptable, and worry about what others may think about what you are doing, just be. If you want to wear a mad hat whilst doing so, fine. The sacred fool in you is willing to leave behind what has been because it no longer feels right to stay attached to it. The sacred fool in you trusts life completely. It would never occur to this part of you to try and outsmart life or resist its flow. She goes on, but in many ways it's backing up what came through from Metatron there, which is that the shadow that we're seeing coming up in the collective that is being thrown at many of us, and I suspect not many people are immune to it, it's a reflection of the fact that there's a big mass of society that doesn't want to change, that doesn't want to ascend, that doesn't want to look deep, that doesn't want to look for the higher meaning, just wants to carry on the same old lines, and it's not possible anymore. And so the light and the dark, the shadow within, is being triggered more and more, and we need to let go from the judgment, free to love. So I'm going to just take those two cards from that deck, and I'm going to go to another one now. I think I'm going to go to my favourite that I'm using at the moment. I've been a bit stuck on this deck, actually, in a good way, since I got back from Canada, the Japardize Tarot. I'm really enjoying using it. So I'm just going to look at the energy around all of us at the moment. And let's just shuffle this deck and see what we get. So what messages are there, Archangel Metatron, for this time that we're in? And also realise that if you watch this video in, I don't know, a year's time or 6 months' time, then the messages within it are what you need to hear now. Just put up a video on my Facebook page that I did in June, which was about a spiritual perspective on migration. Because last night I had Archangel Metatron, literally, I'm a little bit tired today because I didn't sleep well, because he was just badgering me all night to remind people to re-watch a video from this June that I did, and it's linked into the Honduran caravan. I don't know why they call it a caravan. The tidal wave of people that are coming into Mexico, are heading for the USA. And the video that I did in June, if you look back, has got words that are very relevant to now, coming into November. Metatron talked about tidal waves of people moving from one country to another in many different parts of the world, not just USA, linked into lack of water. That hasn't started yet, but it will. Linked into poverty, linked into war, linked into all sorts of things. And we're going to have to find a way to look at it as a world. And it's going to be very, very difficult. So, I mean, look at that. As I say that, we've got the card of war on the bottom up there, and we've also got the card of the sun. So that's almost like Metatron saying, we know it's difficult right now, but where there is discord and chaos at the moment, the sun will come back out again. So don't worry. But you do need to look at it. We can't just pretend it's not happening, and we can't respond in old ways. So I'm not going to repeat what I've already said on that first video. Let's just look at what the cards want us to tune into today. Okay, so Taurus, full moon. Taurus, the bull, the horns. know what it's like in other countries, but here in the UK, I live in a part, and there's a lovely, there's a place near me where you can go, and there's often like cattle in the field, and you can walk across. But I've known sometimes, you know, there'd be a bull in there, and it's like people just go in, and it's like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go into a... So it's like, you've got to be a bit careful. You've got to be a bit careful right now with this energy. It's a bit prickly. Okay, Metatron, 5 cards. Let's just take them as they come from the top of the pack. Oh, that one, okay. That's the 4 of Gardens. Isn't that interesting? Look, 2 cards that have got puppet on them. Puppet, puppet. Okay, so the first card is the 4 of Gardens with the puppet. What goes with that? Oh, okay. What goes with that, sorry, is this is our higher self, is what Metatron is saying. This is our higher self. This is the part of us that wishes to really be in control. And unfortunately, this little puppet is our shadow. It's all of our fears, all of our insecurities, all of the side of ourself where we can be a bit nasty and lash out at other people. And it's like, which one do you think is actually calling the shots at the moment? It should be this one, okay? I like that. So we've got the 4 of Gardens. What else have we got? We've got the Tower. Got the 2 of Fire. That we keep seeing that card. That keeps coming up. We've got the 8 of Fire, the Volcano. And take one more. We've got the 10 of Tides. And on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Devil. So I'll take the Devil as well. So that's quite a powerful selection of cards here. Let's just have a look at what we've got. Sorry, that's just a message come in from my husband. I've got to go and pick him up. Puncture on his bike. Okay. Right, let's have a look. So, yeah, we've got 2 puppets. We've got the Tower. We've got some quite heavy cards. I'm not surprised to see them, to be honest. We've got the Tower, we've got the Devil, and we've got the card of the Volcano, the 8 of Fire. That card to me, can you see that's letting off steam. That's what's happening a lot of the time. If you can let off steam in a way that doesn't hurt other people, that doesn't abuse other people, that doesn't try and get one over on other people, that's the right way to do it. And that would be literally through sport, through creativity, through art, through whatever means works for you. You know, using a punch bag rather than actually using somebody as a punch bag, whether verbal or physical. You need to learn to, we all need to learn to let off steam in a good way, so that actually the volcano doesn't completely blow, which is you and I, but actually is able just to dispense some of this heat, this fire energy that is within ourselves. Because the energy within ourselves right now is the shadow. The shadow is very, very dominant. Can't get away from it, you know? I just can't get away from it. The devil energy. The devil is the lower, our lower self. It's the side of us that we don't particularly like, and nobody else particularly likes to see it when it's out on full display. So are you going to allow the sun to shine upon the devil within you? Or are you going to try to release the negativity that exists within yourself? And that can be things such as spite, aggression, anger, frustration, whatever, somehow in a productive way that doesn't actually hurt you, doesn't hurt another being, and that it can safely disperse. The Tower. The Tower, to be honest, feels as though it's linked into next month. I'm making this, as I say, at the end of September, so we're going into November's energy. I'm just wondering whether there are some revelations to come in the 11th month linked into the Twin Towers, is what I'm wondering. Certainly, myself and the Metatron energy are going to be in New York on November the 11th, and we're going to be running a workshop, which is fully booked now, but certainly I'm there for a good week in New York, and I will be visiting the Twin Towers site. I'll be taking Metatron's energy there, and I'm not quite sure what I will be doing. It will be very low key. It will just be a purely energetic act of remembering, of asking for the truth to come up. And I'm wondering whether it's linked into that. I'm feeling as though it is. I'm feeling as though there might be some new information that starts to come up. I've also been linking very, very strongly over the last 3 weeks or so, keep getting a message with Metatron regarding Madeleine McCann, that there may be new information coming up very soon about that as well. Remember, we did the work, a lot of us collectively did the work with me when I went to Praia de Luz. And if you do you remember what I did was I threw, I had a crystal that changed, didn't I? A crystal that, I can't remember what the crystal was now. Crystal changed anyway when I was there, and I threw it into the sea on the beach, and I threw it in with the intention that when it comes back in, it will bring in some truth back into the situation. Something will be highlighted, I don't know what. And I'm feeling that that's coming back, and I'm feeling the same thing linked into the Twin Towers energy as well. So that feels like it's something for November going forward. What else have we got here? We've got the Two of Fire. We keep getting this card. Do you remember, this is the guy? It's like the hills are on fire. He's retreated. He's watching from a distance. He's distanced himself from the drama. He's distanced himself from the flames. He's distanced himself from all this red, angry stuff. And actually, he's contained his fire energy here within this beautiful lantern, which he's using to help light his way. Because that's the truth. The sides of ourself that can be destructive, if they're channeled properly, can be used for good. Okay, can be used for good. Fire energy is not bad. Obviously, it's not. If you can utilize that in a constructive way to motivate yourself, to get things done, to get things moving, to move yourself away from dysfunctional situations, all for the good. If you allow the fire to devour you and consume you, it's not good. So it's like anything. The elements work in the same way as colours. There is no such thing as a colour that has both just a positive perspective or just a negative perspective. They all have both sides. They have both the blessings and they have the challenges within any colour, and it's the same with the elements as well. So this guy here has learnt how to use the energy of fire. He's got himself away from the flames, he's got himself away from danger, and he's able to do more as well, Metatron is saying, by being at a distance. If you think about the analogy of battle and spiritual warfare and us being spiritual warriors, well, sometimes actually you need to retreat to be able to see the bigger picture, and you can do more good sometimes by actually stepping back, stepping out of the chaos and the drama that other people are still wanting to perpetuate. If you're around people at the moment who just love drama, you know, it really is time to distance yourself from that, because it doesn't it's not healthy to be around, you know that. But again, that thing about everything is escalating, everything is magnified right now. So maybe it was bearable in the past, but it's becoming more and more unbearable. So boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Ten of Tides is the Ten of Cups. So that is a nice card. That's almost like the promise of the rainbow at the end of all this angst. I feel as though I'm not wishing November away by any chance, but I do feel that by the time we get to Christmas, it's feeling a lot lighter. But it's as though 2018 goes out with a little bit of a bang, but it's as though we get the rainbow at the end of it. Let's see what else. Let's just ask for some clarifiers on these. The ones that, the Ten of Tides, let's ask for a clarification on the Ten of Tides, the rainbow. Saw something quite similar to those colours yesterday actually as I was flying back home, because we had a 2-hour delay, and so we flew in darkness and looked out of the window, and of course we weren't very high up because it's a very short flight home, So there's a lot of, I suppose they would call it light pollution, but actually it looked quite beautiful from up above, lots of street lights. But there were colours like that. In fact, my daughter said to me, she said, oh look, there's a rainbow outside. And I thought, a rainbow in the dark? But actually what she meant was there were these colours within the night sky. It was really quite beautiful. Let's have another one that goes with that. 10 of Tides. About 4 fell out then at the same time, so I'm not going to take those. Just have one more. Goes with the 10 of Cups, 10 of Tides. There we go. Flew out the Star. Nice. Thank God. Hope. The Star is the card of hope. Hang on to hope. Don't let people take your hope away. There's a lot of hope harvesters out there at the moment. I'm done with them, to be perfectly honest. There was something on yesterday on my Facebook page, and I wrote a very short little post when I was in the airport waiting to come back home. And because I hadn't posted much over the weekend, I was just thought, okay, what shall I write about? And what came to mind was the fact that in the UK, over the weekend, there was a huge rally. About 700,000 people is what they're reporting. Numerous sites are reporting it was about 700,000 people, and they were marching against Brexit. And I thought, well, I don't want to get into the whole Brexit thing. I've talked about that before. The point I wanted to make, and I did make in this very short post, was the fact that of those 700,000 people, there wasn't any violence. It was a peaceful protest. And I talked about the fact that I remember living in central London. I lived just off Regent Street. I was very lucky. And 1990, there were the poll tax riots. And I remember walking down Regent Street, Oxford Street, all around the West End, the day after the poll tax. Well, it should have been a march, but it turned into a riot. And there was just devastation everywhere. There was just like broken glass, mindless vandalism. There was so much trouble and violence. And it was like, wow, 20 years later, 700,000 people can march through a capital city, which is busy enough at the best of times, and there be no violence. How amazing is that? That was the point I was making. How amazing is that? Straight away, somebody comes in, oh, it wasn't 700,000, it was 100,000, blah, 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 fake news, fake news. Hope harvester. I just thought, whoa. Straight away, energy goes to zero. You know, it's like, it wasn't about that. It was about the fact, how amazing is it that even if it's 100,000 people, if it's 200,000 people, it doesn't matter. A big number of people can march peacefully and there be no violence. Let's celebrate that. Okay, so let's hang on to hope. Okay, let's not let people sink that. Okay, whether it's in the collective or whether it's in our private lives, hang on to hope, guys. It's really important. Okay, I'm going to put the cards away. I'm just going to go to a couple of sprays and just see if there's anything else that wants to come through. And I'll tell you what other sprays I've got on my altar here. I've got the indigo and the sunrise, two obvious ones, but the one I actually want to go to today is the lime, which is the heart chakra spray. I just feel we all need the green energy at the moment, because it feels as though we're the only way I can describe the energy is it's feeling quite claustrophobic, it's feeling quite boxed in, because we're all being forced to look at our shadow, we're all being forced to look at our darkness. We're all being asked to look at that unpleasant side of ourselves where we just want to lash out, okay? And so what we need actually is the green energy, just to allow ourselves, give ourselves some space, count to 10, be aware that you are the one in control of your reaction in every single moment. Last night at the airport, I was tired, I had a lovely weekend, I just wanted to get home, okay? I got a mountain of work to do, I just wanted to get home. And all of the flights were going through on time, bing, 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 gate number 5, gate number 2, no problem. Our flight came up, 2-hour delay, no explanation. The only flight on the whole board that was delayed was ours. And my first reaction within the first minute, well, not even minute, 30 seconds was like, oh God, you know, it was so easy to go whoop, go straight down into self-pity or why me or, ooh, you know, all the rest of it. But I managed to just nip it in the bud. I thought, no, I'm not going down there. I'm not going down that road. Concentrate on the positive, Amanda. You've had a fantastic time. It's no big deal. It's 2 hours. Go off, have a drink, you know, get yourself a meal, enjoy yourself, relax. That's what I did. And it's a silly little example in many ways, but it's a good example in others, because we all have those moments. You're going to choose to lift yourself and give yourself the space to allow yourself to make that choice, because sometimes it's not immediate. Or are you just going to go straight into shadow? Right, you need, and if to stop that happening, we need the green energy. Let's bring in lime green. And of course, lime green, how many times have you heard me say this? Lime green, olive green. Do you remember what I say about the colour? It's linked into the divine feminine. It's linked into the divine feminine energy. Oh, wow, this smells amazing. So many of you are telling me that you can smell these over videos, whether you're in America or wherever. I think that's fantastic. So if you can, if we've got smell-o-vision going on here, lemongrass. Just the most beautiful, beautiful bottle. Lemongrass is one of the key scents in this. So let's just bring in the lime energy, the heart chakra. Let's open our hearts. Let's not let anybody close our hearts down. Let's not let society close our hearts down. Let's not let others who are allowing shadow to dominate them and trigger them to close our hearts down. Breathe in that lime green energy, and lime green by nature also contains the yellows, the golds, and allow them to lift you. Allow them to lift you, and allow the colour just to give you the space. And literally, it's as though you're just able just to push out your aura a little bit as well. So you've got space to breathe. You've got room to manoeuvre. You've got time to consider. And then you remember you can always link in to the higher self, to the angels, to spirit, and you can choose love. And in the month that's coming, we all need to be choosing love. And we need to be acting on that in as many moments as we can. What comes out of our mouth, what we write, what we do, how we behave, is a reflection of which side of your inner veil, shadow or light, is dominating most in any one moment. Let it be love. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. I shall be back soon, sending you a warm hug, lots of love, and bye-bye for now.